The meeting is being live streamed.
Okay. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Evolve Stories of Transformation. I'm your host, Khatija Osman. Earlier on, we were known as the Good Talk Show, but now we've had a bit of a change. I will share with you towards the end about the change. And we'll be sharing wonderful stories of transformation. And today we have with us a special guest, Suhasini Seshadri, joining from India. And Suhasini has been in the corporate sector for 16 years, and now she's co-founded Decode Inspired Living. She's a deep transformational coach who believes in conscious leadership and leading with consciousness as well. She uses a lot of neuroscience in her work. She's a DISC practitioner, EQ practitioner, and lots of certifications to her credit. And we're really elated to have you, Suhasini. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Khadija, for inviting me to this session. It's a wonderful opportunity to engage with all of you here and on such a topic which is so close to my heart. So I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have been anywhere else on earth at this point in time. I would rather choose this place to be.
Yes. So, and you have chosen a very interesting topic for today, Suhasini, which is the role of intuition in leadership. And we're all excited to learn, like the intuition and sixth sense. We all have our own definitions of that. But what does it really mean, and what does it not mean? Please share with us.
Okay, great. So okay, I'm going to try and get all of us on the same page so that whenever we say the word intuition, we all mean the same thing. So, in simplest form, sixth sense, as we all call it, I mean, that is something that everybody uses, even in a layman kind of a language. But in a slightly more deeper sense, it is a certain sense of knowing, which means anything that you know without applying any conscious thought to it. Means you have not processed the information in your head. You have not applied a sequential thinking to it, not a linear format, and you just know it in 1 second. That is what is we generally call as intuition. Many people are born with it, but at the same time, you can also develop the skill more consciously. And that's how all the leaders at the top have probably done it. Because at that level, you need to have a certain sense of intuition. It's basically an intelligence within you, which you have learned to harness. Like how we have learned to harness all our forms of intelligence, right? We have our emotional intelligence, we have our IQ. So this again is a form of another form of emotional intelligence, but a deeper form, and you have just learned to harness it. That's the only thing why leaders pay a lot of attention to it. Now, what do you mean? What does intuition does not mean? I'll come with does not mean first, and then I'll come to what it means. So it is not some form of a concretized knowledge. Like for example, if you go learn karate, you have green belt, black belt, yellow belt. It's a concrete form for knowledge with certain steps. Intuition is not that. I mean, it's not something that you can apply a certain level to it, saying that, hey, I am more intuitive than you, I am less intuitive than you. Maybe it's very difficult. It's all about a certain sense of connection. If you have that connection, then you will be intuitive. It does not come with seniority. It may come with experience, but may not also. It's not necessary that it really comes with experience, and it certainly does not come with maturity in age. So it's not something that you say that, oh, I'm 60, I'm all intuitive. No ways. I mean, it's not something that you actually gather with over your age as it progresses. It's not something like that. But what it is. Now, see, intuition is basically something that I see something more clearly than other people. So, and the key point here is I see that before someone else sees it. That's the whole point of intuition. So basically, you have decoded something which is not yet in your experience. So there are many examples to it. Like, for example, if I'm in the business of share trading, I might be very intuitive to actually just say that, this company shares is going to do really well over the period of next 5 years, or say next 3 months, or whatever. Maybe I don't have any past data to also support it. It's not something that probably I've studied and come across to it. It's just that I have a certain sense of intuition to know which company shares will do well and which will not do well. Likewise, if you're a leader, if you're in the manufacturing or in the design department, very simply put, you probably have a certain intuitive sense as to which product will do really well. You maybe don't have any customer data to support it yet, but still something that I know that this thing will do really well. I know that this should be the right time to launch it. It's like an indication which you can delve deeper and back it up with your head, like information, data, and evidence to prove whether it's right or it's not right. So that's my overall understanding on intuition.
So Hasni, it's like a gut feeling, or is
in fact, you put it so correctly. It's actually a gut feel, and companies value this. When I was at Amazon, there is a leadership principle called leaders are right a lot. They have good instincts and good judgment. It's a leadership principle put out there, and people are appraised on it, promoted on it. I mean, people are paid salaries on it. I mean, it's a real thing out there, because you've got to develop your judgment. Okay, it's one part of the story. How can you develop your instincts? That is something that you've got to really work on. So I say one example very clearly. So my field is people. I mean, I'm in the field of engaging with people, enhancing people capabilities. So whenever I see someone, for me, it's always about, I have an intuitive sense as to what kind of results this person will produce, say in the near future, and what is needed for the person to enhance his or her capabilities to do better. So that comes by an intuitive sense to me, because now that's my field. It's generally context related. So for example, if I have an intuitive sense in playing cricket, if I'm a cricketer, I have an intuitive sense in playing cricket, I may not have the same intuitive sense in cooking. It's always context related. So it's just about what you are exposed to more and more. That's where you kind of develop your intuitive capabilities and harness your intelligence on that.
Yes, so that's very interesting, Suhasini. When it comes to leadership, what differentiates an intuitive leader from a non-intuitive leader?
In leadership, right, knowledge is no longer a differentiator. I mean, clearly across the world. I mean, today you have some certification, the other person is going to get the same certification and will come back. So knowledge or IQ is definitely not a differentiator. Skill, okay, kind of a differentiator. Again, there are many people who actually work on a particular skill and get going with it. So again, it can be a differentiator if you're really good at it. But this kind of intelligence, I mean, intuitive intelligence, and I have been blessed to work with so many leaders who are so intuitive, and I can give you examples of how they used intuition in their decision making. So, for example, they might just meet someone once or twice, and they'll be able to clearly say what kind of responsibilities that person can handle and cannot handle. So, if it's like a new project and they have to bet on someone, that leader will say, I met this person twice, I think he can do it. It's not to be confused with judgment. It's not to be confused with first impressions. It's an intuitive sense by which they are able to actually stay connected to that person, understand what the person is capable of doing and not doing, and just take a sense of the potential that the person has. That's one example in decision making. Other examples in the case of businesses, there are plenty. Like, for example, a leader used to just come up with that sense of timing. I call it divine timing, actually. You just come up with that sense of timing, saying that you should launch this product at this time and the product will do well. And believe me, the product will do well. I mean, the competition not be able to break it at all. Some sense of intuitive intelligence that leader had actually. Some other examples could be that, they'll not have all the resources right at the start, but they will just send out an intention saying that, I want to work on this. And somehow from everywhere, people will start coming in order to support the leader's agenda. I mean, that is something that's a lot of intuitive intelligence. That's the highest level, if I can so call it. I mean, it's a very strong sense of connection. That you just set out a strong intention, and then people are just walking up to you saying that, hey, you know what, I was thinking of working on this project, can I do? And the leader will just say, hey, I was thinking of this project, please take it. I mean, that's one sense. Then I've got so many other examples.
So Hasini,
Yeah.
do share, you mentioned divinity and you mentioned setting an intention.
Yeah.
So what's the role of spirituality and the law of attraction? Where are they coming into play? And how are they correlated with the leader using that?
So, and this is the reason why I call it the highest level of fusion. And the reason is this. See, it's called quantum physics. Basically, everybody is one. I mean, everybody, all of us are coming from the same source. Now, the moment you set out an intention and send it out to the universe, saying that I want this to happen, and if it's for the larger good, the universe responds in a certain manner. This can happen only when you have a certain connection established with the universe. It can be done, it can be harnessed. I have seen it in action, I have worked on it, and I am practicing it. It can definitely be done. But actually, that's the third part of harnessing intelligence, which I thought maybe we will not have time to cover in this call. But then I have got easier methods to share as to how to develop intuition. Because, see, not everybody is so spiritually aligned or connected. I mean, that's not everybody's interest, if I may so call it. But there are some things that everybody can do, which is the resources which are there at everybody's disposal. And those resources are very simply put: a brain and a body. Everybody has a brain, everybody has a body. So, the simple strategies to actually walk through how to harness the intuitive abilities of the brain and how to harness the intuitive abilities of the body. So, if I can, I just want to share like three strategies in each. I don't want to bombard with a lot of information that they're not able to apply. These are very pragmatic, which you can easily start applying. I mean, you can just, after the session, you want to choose anything and you want to start applying, you can easily do that. It's as pragmatic and as simple as that. So,
yes, please.
So the first one is the brain. I don't complicate it with neuroscience, but just a little things about the brain. If you understand, you will be able to harness it beautifully. First is the first one is you have a left brain and a right brain. That's the most simplest form that anybody can share. The right brain is supposed to be very creative. So all the creative arts and the innovative ideas that you are sharing, everything, the source of it is coming from the right brain. Now, the left brain's job is to actually decode whatever the right brain has perceived into some form of a language, into some form of a method or a structure. That's the job of the left brain. It gives you structure, it gives you methods, it gives you the mechanics to do certain things, so that you can clearly explain this is step 1, step 2, step 3. Right brain cannot do that. Right brain just perceives. It cannot put it into steps like that. So that's the left brain, right brain. Third thing that you have in your brain is mirror neurons. Very simply put, you are watching a tragic movie, a very tragic movie. And you must have seen that while watching the tragic movie, you yourself are in tears. I mean, why is that happening? I mean, something's there on the screen. The person is not even live in front of you, and still you are able to connect to an emotion on screen. Now, that's because of mirror neurons. You are able to have an insight and perceive what the other person is feeling, and you are reciprocating the same feeling. So that's the job of mirror neurons. The last part is my favorite. It's called the aha moment, the Einstein thing. I mean, it's like you just take a shower, you wander here and there, you take a walk in the garden, you meditate, and then one fine day suddenly an idea clicks with you, like, oh wow, I mean, this is the idea that I was actually looking for and I wanted so badly. So that's the aha moment, which is the job of default mode network. Why is it so powerful? because it covers the entire brain. It moves from the left to the right. I mean, it covers both sides of the brain. So that's why you literally perceive an idea and immediately put it into language also. So that's why the aha moments are very powerful. Now, very simply put, I use some of these things while I was working in Amazon myself, how to get more aha moments into my life. And very simple. It's so simple that you will feel that why didn't I even try this before? It's that simple. So, first and foremost, intuition is always contextual. So, which means that I might be excessively intuitive in one field, but I may not be able to get the intuition span into another field of my work. So whatever you want to do, so for example, you want to learn a new language, pay complete attention to it. I mean, watch more of that language, listen more of that language, or use all your senses, eyes, ears, nose, whatever you can use while you are learning that language. Get yourself fully absorbed into it. Practice more and more of that, speaking that language or writing that language. Take feedback from people. Now, a lot of instinct or intuition is developed by practicing and getting yourself completely absorbed. So that's the power of your sensory organs. Now, the next one is the right brain. I mean, this again is something that I keep doing. Earlier, I was very analytical. And I wanted to shift basically from the left brain to the right brain. So this is something that I used a lot of it myself. I got engaged with some form of art. It can be music, it can be any form of creativity, it can be drawing, it can be painting. The more and more you give work to the right brain, it's like exercising your right brain more and more. So the right brain will start perceiving more, the right brain will start creating more, it will start innovating more for you. And then immediately you'll just see something and idea will just come to your head. That's the power of the right brain. So these are simple things. I mean, right brain, you can just get involved in any form of creative arts. And the third thing is, you walk into a meeting, see if you're able to sense the emotion of the other person. First, sense what emotion you are operating with, and just take a sense of what's the emotion that he is walking in with. He may not actually, the other person may not actually say this to you, but just try practicing it again and again, and you will definitely get it. The last strategy is a bonus. I use this at Amazon and I'm in love with the strategy. So I said 3 strategies, but this one is a bonus 4th strategy. Friday second half used to be my wandering time, which means I will not do any of my Amazon related work. I will wander, which means I will surf randomly. I will try to learn things which I wanted to learn, but over the week I couldn't learn because of paucity of time. So that everything will come to my Friday second half. And you will not believe it. The amount of insights that I have generated on Friday second half, no other day of the week can beat it. I mean, absolutely, it used to be my most insightful kind of evenings. So these are the simple strategies related to the brain. These were simple, and the body is even more simpler. I mean, body is least complicated. There is nothing to do with the body actually. Body, all of us know, sensory organs, all of us have. That's one thing which, like, the moment you walk into a room, you can sense something, right? Maybe your feet is tingling or your hands are tingling. If you are energy sensitive, your body can actually sense what is the energy of the room. So that's the part of the sensory organs. The second part is everything all of us know, the heart. Sometimes the heart will know certain things that the head will take time to figure out. I mean, you will say that, my head is saying a different thing and my heart is saying a different thing. So that is the power of the heart. And the beauty of the body is the gut and the heart both have similar neurons. That is why you don't say I have a kidney instinct. You say you have a gut instinct. You don't say intestine instinct, you say gut instinct. Because the gut has exactly the same neurons that the heart has. So which means your gut can easily sense things just like the heart. And that is why it's very easy to say that, my gut instinct says this, my heart is saying this. So that is one part. The third element in your body is your vagus nerve. Vagus nerve is the most important nerve in the body because it connects all the major organs in the body, right? From the heart to the brain to It's like a soldier of the brain, basically. Like the brain gives information from the top to the bottom. The vagus nerve gives information from the bottom to the top. So it will convey all the information from all the major organs and supply that information to the brain. And it's a very loyal soldier. It will do its job effectively. Very beautifully, it will do its job. So very simply. Now, how do you harness this? Now, once you know this, the next question is simple. How do you harness it?
And
At a
also,
meet
just sorry to interrupt you, Sahasini. So, where is the vagus nerve located?
everywhere. I mean, it flows from the top to the bottom. It
Okay.
connects all the major organs of the body. It's like from the brain to the heart to the kidney to the pancreas to whatever, all the major organs of the body is connected with your vagus nerve. So, and the moment you take stress, this is the first nerve to be impacted. And that is why with stress, you get so many diseases. I mean, the count is limitless. Because the vagus nerve gets impacted, its ability to communicate information to the brain is impacted. And that's it. I mean, cortisol, that's the effect of cortisol, stress. So, okay. So, yeah, very simply, how can you harness this intelligence of sensory organs, the heart and the gut, and the vagus nerve? Sensory organs, very simple. You walk into a meeting, give a minute, and just see what are you seeing. Are you able to see everything, pay proper attention? Are you able to hear certain things which are not being said? Are you able to see certain things which are still unseen? When you're touching a book, how does it feel like? What else? I mean, what are the kind of smells are you able to smell in the room? Why are we doing all of this? We are sharpening your senses. Just like going into a war, you sharpen all your weapons, right? Similarly, of course, the meeting is not a war-like scenario. I'm just saying this is kind of
So, mindfulness.
Mindfulness, exactly. Yeah, and the more you pay attention to your sensory organs and what they are perceiving, the more it will give you more information. It's a two-way track. You pay attention to it, it will pay attention to you. It's that simple. The heart is very simple. Nowadays, the heart is pretty famous. People say, try lead with the heart, lead with the heart. People say all of that. So nowadays, heart is gaining more importance. So, how to respect it? When your heart tells you something, if you ignore it, saying that, hey, I don't have any data to prove it, there is no enough evidence to tell me that this is right, then your heart will stop telling things to you. It's a communication channel, basically. If you respect it, it will open up more and it will tell you more things. If you disregard it, and similarly, likewise for the gut, your gut instinct will tell you, like this, in 1 second of a snap, it will tell you that something is wrong, something is right, it will tell you. But if you ignore it, next time it will go even more quieter. It doesn't take abuse very lightly. So the heart and the gut is very simple. You have to just listen to it. And the third is your vagus nerve. It's just since the vagus nerve connects all the major organs of the body, just like a mindfulness practice, when you enter into a meeting, just take couple of seconds to scan each part of your body. What is your feet saying? Are your feet comfortable? Is your hand comfortable? Is your throat comfortable? You can just scan it and say a couple of minutes. And that's about it. I mean, the vagus nerve will do its job. It will tell you if it has to tell you anything. And if it has no information to communicate, it will not tell you anything. As simple as. So those were some very simple strategies. You can just pick up any strategy and start applying right after this meeting. After 3:30, you can start applying this strategy. It is that powerful and it is that simple.
So that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing, Suhasini. So I have a question back to the mirror neurons. You shared that, when we're watching a movie, and like it's just like being able to feel what the other person is feeling. So that brings me to empathy. So, like, what is the connection there? Please
it is
share a bit.
exactly the same thing. Mirror neurons' job is supposed to be empathetic. But at the same time, there is one more level which is higher than empathy, which is compassion. So what happens generally is, if you are a nurse and you are serving a patient's need, if you are too empathetic towards a patient, it might drain you off. That is why the nurses choose to operate from a space of compassion and not empathy. Compassion is that part of the brain in which it tells you that I have to take some action towards it, which means some part of the problem is in my control and my influence. I can do something to alleviate the pain of the other. So empathy is a different part of, I mean, it's like if you take an MRI scan, there are certain lights in some parts of the brain which will shine like a bulb if you're empathetic. And there is another section which will shine with a bulb if you are compassionate. So both are different areas, but both starting point is mirror neurons. You cannot be compassionate without being able to sense the emotion in another person. If you have lived all your life and if you have been very analytical all your life, you will not be able to connect to the other person's emotion very easily. The other person might be sharing that emotion also, but you will not be able to sense or gauge it unless the other person talks about it openly to you. But as a leader, it's very important for you to perceive this in your team, because everything will not be said out in the open. You have to sense certain things.
Yes, so empathy and intuition are really closely knit. Thank you for sharing this, Suhasini. So it has been a really insightful session. One key takeaway, the major one for me, has been that the more information we feed our senses, like the more open we are and we allow more information to be perceived by our senses, it sharpens them. That's really interesting, and that can sharpen our intuition as well. um, uh, Coming to all of this, I'm sure there has been some transformational shift in you as well. Was it before this enlightenment, or was it after? And please share with us your journey of transformation, since you are a deep transformation coach.
So, see, my journey started primarily from 2018 or say 2020. COVID was a major hit even for me. So, 2000 till about, I think my life can be pre 2018 and post 2018, because parts of me, there is a before and after. Very different people, personas altogether. So I was this extremely robotic kind of a person. Okay, I'll be extremely analytical about things. I will want to do things in a certain manner, in a certain structure. Decoding was a gift. I mean, decoding was a blessing. I could decode easily everything. Give me a psychometric tool and I will easily decode and draw the character sketch of the whole person in front of you. So that came as a skill which I probably paid attention more to my left brain, to decode, to structure and everything. But come 2018, I don't know, there was something within me that, I should probably pay more attention to my emotions, because it was numbing me. Being over analytical was actually, I was numbing my own emotions. I was not able to feel them. And it was affecting my performance. So that is the reason why when I consciously tried to make the shift from being over analytical to being able to sense my own emotions myself, and then I'll be able to sense the emotions of others. And that is where I started exercising a lot of my right brain. I mean, I used to sketch, I used to draw these designs, I used to randomly sing, and I engaged myself in a lot of creative arts and thinking, because now my right brain had to be put to a lot of exercise. It was sleeping for a very long time. Only my left brain was active. So that means I started exercising my right brain a lot. That started increasing my intuitive abilities. Now and then Amazon happened, and Amazon, it gives you a very free culture. You can really bring your whole self to work. So literally there I got an opportunity to do my work by balancing both myself, the masculine way and the feminine way. And then I realized that I was skewing more towards the feminine way. In fact, earlier I was more towards the masculine way. Now I was skewing more towards the feminine way, being more empathetic, being more compassionate, being more joyful, being more dedicated. I mean, everything, all of that. I think I imbibed more of those kind of qualities in me. And since then, I think I have been like that. I think it was just an ignored part of me which I didn't harness earlier. After that, I have not shifted sides, but the best part is now I've come to the center. I can be extremely analytical and I can be extremely empathetic and compassionate when I want to be. So I think that sense of balance that I've got helps me a lot in my field that I'm right now, because my job is that of a deep transformational coach, and there are all kinds of people in the world. I mean, people are, it's not just one sort of person, right? There are many sort of people in the world. So it helps me connect with them. So you get me an extra logical person, I'll be able to talk his language. You get me an extra sensitive person, I'll be able to talk that person's language as well. So it kind of puts me in the center, and that's very useful in the field that I'm in.
Yes. So I don't mean to pry here, Suhasini, but perhaps it would be helpful for those watching as well. You mentioned numbing. So how was it affecting you at a personal level, the numbness? Because when people hear you and they can identify that, you know, I'm feeling something similar and maybe I need to create such a shift too. So what was it that was impacting you?
Some symptoms of if you are numbing your own emotions. If you are feeling extra sad, you might want to run away from the sadness and not work on the sadness and go to the root cause of it. You might just distract you and come up with an extra logical answer as to why you don't want to go into it at that point in time. Because you can also give yourself a lot of excuses to not do something. The brain is very sharp in that as well. The problem is if you the brain doesn't know how to differentiate between certain kinds of emotions. If you shy away from sadness, then you will also shy away from joy. So the brain, then you will not be able to sense joy also. If you are getting a shield onto some emotions, it will not be able to discriminate. It will discriminate all the emotions that are good also. I mean, I shouldn't be using the word good emotions and bad emotions, but it's a very layman kind of a language. Happiness, joy, all those kind of emotions. If you don't go into the depths of your sadness, you will not reach the heights of your happiness.
That is so true. Beautiful, beautifully said. So basically, pushing our feelings under the table, and when we don't address them, our problems as well, we avoid feeling negative, but then we also deprive ourselves of the joy. So thank you for sharing that, Suhasini. Any parting message that you would like to share? Because so far you have shared a whole lot of information that I'm sure has been very useful to those watching.
My parting information is just this: listen and trust. I mean, intuition is like a guest, it will walk into the house slowly, subtly, it will not make much noise. But if you don't embrace it with open arms, if you don't listen to it, if you don't give it what it wants, it will shy away as softly as it came. It will not make any noise while going either. I mean, as softly it comes, it will go that softly. So if you want to become more intuitive as an individual, as a human being, as a leader, the first thing is trust what your heart tells you. Trust your gut. Trust your instincts. I mean, it's a language that you are connecting with yourself. You connect with yourself and trust yourself, then it will connect back to you. It's a live thing. I mean, your body is a live organism. I mean, it's like very dynamic. So you send a message to your body and brain saying that I trust you. It will tell you many things, things that you probably have not heard before and even not worked on yourself before. So I always say intuition is like a guest. You welcome it, it will come, sit in your house and speak to you more often. If you ignore it, disregard it, disrespect it, it will quietly walk away and never come back again.
Yes, but sometimes when you don't welcome it, it can end up leaving you in catastrophic situations as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Suhasini, for coming here and sharing your insights. It has been a pleasure. For those of you watching, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and Suhasini and I will get back to them wherever required. So at an ending note, I would like to share with you earlier on, as I mentioned, that we've now switched to evolve stories of transformation. After doing 40 odd episodes of the Grit Talk Show, I realized that it's the stories that matter most, and it's the people and their stories. So, what we've started with the Grit Coaches community, as you all know, I have this wonderful community of coaches. So we started an annual anthology where we write a book as of 2024. As our first one will be out in May, maybe earlier. Let's see. Basically, it's all building up, and we're all about stories and creating impact through coaching. So, on that note, thank you so much again, Sahasini, and thank you for watching. Till next time, have a lovely week ahead.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, Khadija. Absolutely loved being here every single moment and opening my heart out on a topic which I anyway like to speak on. It's a joy. I mean, this conversation was pure joy. Loved it.
Thank you. It was wonderful having you, Sahasini, and learning from you. Thank you. Bye.